Coming to you live on a Friday after Mercury retrograde. Those last few days of retrograde, I said, oh, no, no, no. I had to unplug from all electronics. Anyways, you get it. They try to throw some funny energy at us. But we're above that now. We're past that. How is everybody doing in the world? How you doing? How you feeling? I'm going to hit two really quick topics. Something that I feel like, I always look for these teachable moments, but I also want to share a little bit about the journey on how I got started in social media. Hello to Germany and Egypt. How we doing? You're one of the first people I met on this journey overseas. Half Egyptian, half German. Jasmine. So I'm gonna talk really quick because, again, man, it's Friday afternoon. So, first, how I started on social media was, I told many people I was getting the shit kicked out of me. I wasn't like a natural, like I didn't even FaceTime people. That's not something I really enjoyed. Actually, let me turn the camera around a little bit. I'll leave it here. It's just kind of distracting. But anyways, I didn't even FaceTime before I got started on social media, but the universe was big, loud, showing me things and telling me things. And then my Escalade got stolen. I went through a breakup, and then I was forced into a buyout of a business that I built, with my bare knuckles 20 years prior. And it was humbling because one of my best friends in the world, I felt like it just didn't go well. So everything came crashing down. I picked up my cell phone and said, what the hell is going on? Does anybody else feel like they're living in a movie or the Truman Show? I wasn't even really like the day my car got stolen. I was on my way to the doctor's appointment. And by the way, they wanted to do surgery 13 and 14 to lengthen my arm to make it 4 inches longer after they already saved it from amputation. And so I just picked up the phone and I just started talking, and I started sharing my journey. I went to Galveston, Texas, where I was born, where my pain initially started, where I traced back the roots of what created me, right? Everybody has an origin story. Mine started in Galveston. So I just picked up the phone, and it started with weight loss. Okay, I'm telling my weight loss journey and how I've been up and down 20, 30 pounds my whole life. And then, it's kind of like this gradual buildup. And then finally, I had all these weird things happen to me. I remember I had a grand opening at my CBD store. And then these weird things started happening to me. And I was sitting there like a dragonfly appeared out of nowhere in thin air. So all of a sudden I said, man, I just got to tell my story. I can't keep just prolonging this. And I said, on 11/11/2021, my name is Jonah Rogers, and I'm an alien. I'm a Pleiadian starseed. I started getting all these downloads, all these strange things happening to me, and it went nuts. Basically, I gained let's say 200,000 followers within the first 6 weeks of me being on social media, and I really didn't understand it. I started on TikTok. I knew the Facebook and Instagram thing as something that it's like these are people you know. TikTok was playing with kids on the other side of the world and the other side of the street. So all of a sudden, every video I make is popping, and I'm like, damn! I've been waiting for my tribe my whole life. We all pretty much we got along with everybody, but all my friends were kind of weird. I don't know. I think aliens were naturally drawn to me, probably just like you. So in social media, you started getting that kind of natural dopamine hit, and you're like, okay, oh man, they really like me. They really, really like me. And I shared all parts of my journey, probably overshared things that were just personal that maybe weren't necessary, but I always wanted to give people the confidence to be able to speak their truth and not feel like they were going to be weird or outcasted from their friends and family, because we came here to be authentic and to overcome those things. So then I kind of started dibbling, dabbling, and putting stuff here and there on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. Let's just fast forward through it. The first account they took down, I had 385,000 followers. I don't know, 30, 40, 50 million views, something like that at that time. And then, started using the other platforms, like I said. And the reason they took me down is because I had a conversation with somebody about reptilians. There was no negativity. There was no darkness. I talked with you, Jasmine. We did a live on Instagram from the store. I remember that time too. But they wouldn't let me log in the account. And the first account that I ever made was the Book of Jonah. And you literally see me going through all parts of the journey, sleeping in cars. Like, it was like, I had to kind of laugh about it, because the things that happen to us don't happen to anybody else. The license plates we see, the spiritual signs we see, they don't happen to anybody else. So then I was I'm like, I'm not creating another TikTok. Forget about this. And then it was like, you're torn, because you know you have a message that you're supposed to spread. You know something has to come out of you, that you have to speak uncomfortable truths to people. So then I was like, okay, let me start the Morpheus account. All right, this one's going to be different. And that's whenever for those of you who don't remember, I rebuke all spells, rituals, and/or castings that aren't of the highest frequencies of source love consciousness. That particular video that I read was a guy named Tim Rogers sent it to me. It did like 50 million views on all platforms. So then now all of a sudden my second TikTok blows up. I'm starting to blow up a little bit on Instagram. And along the way, I'm meeting all the characters of the game. And along the way, people are saying, you have positive people, you have negative people, but I'm meeting politicians, I'm meeting doctors, lawyers, all kinds of people. There's all different versions of us on the world. But anyways, getting back to it, it's like social media was starting to become my identity, and it was like my passport. But that's when people would meet me offline, they're like, dude, you're way cooler offline than you are online. People think that it's just, everything's just so serious and we got to decode everything. And I don't want to be annoying. I'm still here to live in the 3D, 4D, and 5D. I feel more comfortable in the fifth dimension. I feel more comfortable not being divisive. But the conversations we have offline are going to be a whole lot different than online, because we're still treading lightly, and we don't want to be insensitive to people. But getting back to the social media journey, all of a sudden, my Morpheus account gets over 200 and something thousand. So I had over 600 something thousand on TikTok. Last year, I started speaking out against, it wasn't just the Democrats and Republicans, guys. People are calling me a Trumper now, and I'm like, dude, you must be new on this journey. I have been criticizing the system. I have been trying to speak to people's souls to say, dog, who you playing, who you conning? Like, why are you cover for these people? Like, I've been trying to break the system. And so when I spoke off about the Democrats and how they were money laundering last year, they took my TikTok down. So then now I'm like, I'm not getting into this again. But when I see now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because social media can give you this false feeling of like, I don't want to say it in this way because we are all equally important, but that you're way more important. Like, the system pushes people that are different. Let me put it that way. And a lot of the videos I was making 3.5 years ago, I see people making now, whether it be decoding entertainment. You could go on, and that makes me happy. That really makes me happy that the collective conscience can see the different codes that were always put there. But you can meet somebody that has no social media following or no social media at all and find them way more tapped in than a lot of the people that you see on here. It's not a knock against people, but not everybody has the same intentions when using social media. And this is how I'll use it, because TikTok, social media is using people, guys. You know that now. I'm not telling you something you don't know. But what social media is doing is trying to get you to feed off that dopamine hit. Because some videos go viral, some videos don't do anything. If you preach a positive message, it's not going anywhere. Let's be honest. If I came on here, rah, 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 hate, 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 let's burn the system down, the government, they push that all you want, because they need they need a balance of dark energy, light energy, hate, negativity, positivity. They need a balance, but they push negativity way more than they push positivity. And I started to see that. There's an experiment they did. Let me tell you really quick about an experiment they did. They had these mice, and these mice, they gave them pellets. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but every time they would put this lever out, the mouse would get a pellet. So the mouse knew whenever the lever come, there'd be a pellet. Then they switched it up, and And sometimes the mouse would get a shock, like an electrical shock, that he would, so sometimes he'd get a shock, sometimes he'd get a pellet. It would go back and forth. So the next thing you know, they took away the pellets, and what happened? The mouse shocked itself to death, hypothetically. And that's what's happened with social media. A lot of people have built their identity on things like TikTok, and they think that that's their community. Let me just tell you something. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. More than 50% of the internet is bot accounts. Do you understand that? Social media, they've gathered us now into this place. We're putting in all this information into AI, or some of y'all are, and now they sometimes give this false dopamine hits. Everybody's shadow banned if you have a positive message, and it's, again, this is only to identify what's happening with the system. Once you see it, because people are trapped in there now, and they're like, man, I haven't gained any followers in 6 months. And they're still there, and there's still their identity. But in this teachable moment, I'm telling you, this is a way to evolve. We were meant to spend time with people online. We were meant to meet people online. Don't fall into that false social media narrative, or don't think because somebody has a large following that they're so much more tapped in, or they're so much more anything. Don't believe any of that. By the way, let me just say this. Over 700 million views and 1.2 million followers, just speaking my truth. I never bought no followers, and I'm not knocking anybody who has. I know some people use social media for business or something, but for me, it was always about authenticity and how can we break people's minds free from this prison. That's really what this was about. That's what the journey was for me. My message, the knock on me has been, Jonah, where are you leading us, Jonah? Jonah, what happens when we break the matrix, Jonah? Can you heal me, Jonah? Can you do my healing for me, Jonah? Jonah. My whole goal was to get you to be, when you go to a therapist, do you heal yourself, or does the therapist heal you? The whole goal is to get you to see that you are the creator of your reality. You can heal yourself with your mind. You don't need other people. I'm trying to get you to be able to decode your whole reality yourself, because we are all coded differently. Just like angel numbers and these other things, we all have a different code or a different pattern. So my goal is to get you to this level where you say, you can discern things, you can look at these things, and you can say, okay, because there's a lot of things that come in your reality that don't really make sense. You heal yourself. Don't look for anything external. There's great creators. I don't want to discourage anybody, by the way, if you've never made a spiritual video, if you've never made a matrix video, if you never made anything or said anything or expressed anything, I don't want to discourage you. You just need to speak your truth. How did you start? Were you an addict? Were you addicted to love? Were you homeless? And even if you weren't, it's just, this is your personal vlog. This is you and your expression and what you want to give to the world. That's what social media was about. Right now, as you can see, it's probably infiltrated with people that don't have the same intentions. The government, let me tell you a really quick story. I'm going to wrap these two things up. Let me tell you really quick. I didn't know about this until a few months ago, but the government had some land in California. And on that land, they were making, they had these bands. And I want to say, like, I don't think the Grateful Dead, but a lot of y'all probably know this story. But the government was basically creating musical groups, which they still do now, to gain your trust, because you now have the influence and power of people. And so moving forward, they did it with movies. A lot of the movie directors or actors, or a lot of these people work for the government. They're pushing certain narratives when they want to, good or bad, positive or negative. It's however you take it. But that's translated over into social media and influencers. Do you understand that the word plant means an industry plant? Some people you see come up on social media out of nowhere, and you're like, hold up, dog. Like, this person is like, okay, how do you get all this information? And it's, when I say information, a lot of the things they get are like government classified documents that all of a sudden they have. it just lets you know that it's all forms of entertainment the government has influenced, and especially social media. And that gets to my last point that I want to talk about. I dipped my pinky into the political thing. The Andrew Tate, they had a meeting yesterday, or a live, whatever. Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines, and Nick Fuentes. And if you're not on this timeline, it's okay. If you're not on the political timeline, it's okay. But if you really think about it, they had like over 150,000 people on live. I used to get, hundreds of thousands of people on these lives. I'm not even complaining about shadow bans anymore. If you find the message and the message finds you, it's meant to find you. That's all I got to say. But when you look at what's happening right now, the Matrix is eating itself. Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owen, Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, something happened in the sky behind me. All of these people have some kind of CIA or government affiliation. Okay? They claim to be fighting the system. They claim to be fighting the Matrix. But you understand that a lot of them are multimillionaires, which there's nothing wrong with having money. We're supposed to be abundant. Let me preface it by saying that everything is about intention. But the Matrix is now propping up this new form of hero that I'm going to take on the system, and they messed with my banking and I was in jail for 4 months. You just need to be aware of what's happening. If you don't dip into the 3D spaces or the consciousness, I only dip my toe in a little bit to see what are they talking about. It's misogyny. Let us be misogynistic. Let us be racist. There's no togetherness. There's no unity. And the Matrix, again, I want to emphasize this, is eating itself. They've propped up these influencers that have millions of followers. That could, the whole point, let me tell you this. Coming up, Gary's the numbers guy, man, I'm not fixing to drag anybody, but you just got to resonate with whoever's energy resonates with you. But in this age of social media, they know how powerful social media is. Nobody's really watching the news anymore. People watch influencers more than they watch the news. Okay? So I'm saying this because they prop up these people, again, to gain your trust. And if you come up, it's like if you grow up in the ghetto and then all of a sudden you hit a lick, or like you're a professional athlete, you always say, I'm going to go back and help. I'm going to go feed the homeless. I'm going to go feed the poor. And some of them do. A lot of them do it without even posting it online, which I love that. But let me say it in this way. If you're an influencer that comes up that knows the Matrix is a thing, and you reach this pinnacle of, fuck, man, I got $100 million right now. Dog, ain't nobody buying. If you're not preaching togetherness and harmony, come on, dog. And you're supposed to be a Christian or a Muslim. It's just, I'm just sharing this with you because it's very easy. Like, if it's one thing if you're struggling out in the streets and you're on the grind and you're going place to place and you got a microphone and you're speaking to the kids and you ain't got a place to sleep. But they're all sitting in mansions. And then they want you to trust them, bro. And tune in today and make sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Hey, dog, cool. Do what you do. I guess I ain't meant to have nothing in this lifetime. I've already had it all. I'm just joking. My point being is, how can we unify? This is what's been my struggle with trying to connect people that are on the highest timeline, that have money, power, and influence. You've already made it, guys. They've already scared you into thinking they're going to cancel you again. Nobody can cancel a chosen one, dog. They cannot cancel you. Do you understand? You're a sovereign, divine being. Nobody can cancel you but you. Do you understand that? So, I'm only saying this to say that maybe at some point, when all the spiritual influencers are tired of doing whatever it is they do, maybe at some point the people will want to unite and say, we don't even need them in their system. Following rules or their rules or playing the game their way is actually It's actually kind of low vibe. You're putting yourself in a box. We have all, at some point, put ourselves in a box. I was guilty of it. After they took my second TikTok down, I was like, oh, Massa, I don't even make money on social media. Massa, please, I promise. I won't talk about the Jewish people no more, Master. The Democrats, dog. I'm going to say exactly how I feel. I also am going to use the opportunities to sharpen my sword and knife and understand a lot of us weren't meant for the masses. Okay? I used to make people's the blood leave their face and clutch their pearls. Oh my God, Jonah. Oh my God, how can you say that? Aliens. I used to be so I have tried my whole life to not hurt people's feelings. Does anybody else resonate with that? What's up, my brother Nick? What's up, Lisa in Australia? I tried my whole life, because you ultimately, when you start speaking truth, you're going to offend someone. But sometimes when you realize that you are God in human form, and I am God in human form, that sometimes only a God can hear you. Sometimes only somebody who's Christ consciousness, Yeshua. We worry about industries that are enslaving us. We're worried about Hollywood. We're worried about, you get what I'm trying to say. You're way more powerful than the system. You created the system. One day you're going to wake up and look back at these moments and laugh. It's saying, damn, it took me that long to get that was my blind spot, that nobody can cancel me. And if you're not meant, we're not necessarily meant to be in the mainstream. The normies need time to wake up, and I I'm a normie too. I could fit in those spaces and talk about football and weather too. We could switch gears with the best of them. So that's really my message today, is be discernful on whose message is coming out now. Pay attention to the patterns of the people you see. Just do party the rest of your life. There's the message. Carol, Bernie, we might be coming to Washington, D.C. soon. Maybe we'll go march in the streets. Huh? Maybe we'll go march in the streets and say, Kumbaya, Bubba. Kumbaya, Bubba. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful, beautiful Friday afternoon, evening. I hope you get the point of this message. Create from a place of love. The message is going to reach exactly who it's supposed to reach. We're not here to offend people, but sometimes you got to speak your truth, and the truth hurts. Sometimes that person who bullied you, which was really you in another avatar, or the best or hardest coach in your life had to give you that medicine full of truth to make you change. That's the message. Be discernful. Much love.